Look at your inbound funnel and figure out where do you have the most headaches, and that's where you should start with agents in production. If you look at your inbound funnel and you're like, I'm doing all of these events, but I'm really struggling to get humans to follow up with those event leads, what a fantastic place to start to leverage an agent. If you're looking at the bottom of your funnel and you're like, I have all of these hand raisers, but it's taking us 4 days to get back to people because we don't have the human capacity, that's a great place to start with an agent in production. It's really imperative that you identify the use cases of where you can deploy them, where are your headaches, what drives you mad as a CMO, and then figure out how you can deploy an agent for that particular use case to relieve the headache and then ultimately help you hit your pipeline number better.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the OnBase podcast. I'm your host, Chris Moody. Today, I'm very excited to have Maura Rivera with us to talk about the rise of AI SDR agents. Maura, thanks for joining us today and welcome to the show.
Chris, thanks for having me. Big fans of demand-based, so it's fun to be here.
Yeah, great to be with you too. We're big fans of Qualified, and we could have talked the whole time without hitting the record button about the things we're seeing. So we will get to that. But the question I like to start with every single time is you telling us a little bit about your journey. So what led you to what you're doing today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm like, how long do we have? I'll give you the shortened version, which is I started my career at Salesforce and I worked for who is now the CEO of Qualified. So I was working for him. He was the CMO of Salesforce alongside a couple other execs at Salesforce. We were there for a while. They left to start their next gig, this survey platform called Get Feedback, which was later acquired by SurveyMonkey. I followed them there and led product marketing there. And then about 7 years ago, they broke off to start their next venture, which was Qualified. And Craig, our CEO, called me and he said, hey, do you want to join a startup, a real startup? Like when I joined Get Feedback, it was more people, but Qualified at the time was no revenue, no customers. We had some slide deck of our product vision, but it wasn't much more than that. And when he pitched me on the vision, which is like, how can we help marketers have better visibility into their website? How can we help them have more control over their pipeline number? That stuck with me as a marketer. So I joined Qualified early days, which was really fun. It's always funny, you have rose-colored glasses looking back, but I'm like, gosh, that was a really fun ride at the beginning because we were just with a bunch of people who we really trusted trying to build a product we were really excited about. And along the way, between starting my career and where I am today, I have 3 young kids. So that's always fun and chaotic. And Chris, I know you have 4 kids, so you're in the same boat. So I've been kind of building my family and building my career. And I'm super, super proud to be leading the marketing efforts at Qualified. I'm really proud of the customers and the product we've built and the team we've built. Just really proud. So it's been a fun, busy, chaotic couple years to get here, but it's awesome.
That's incredible, especially the 3 kids. I mean, we both have 2-year-olds, so the chaos and the busyness that you describe is very real. There's no free time ever. So it's great to see you crushing it at work in addition to on the home front. So awesome job there.
Oh, thank you. Work's the easy part sometimes. I feel like compared to my household. So I'm like, oh, this is manageable.
Yeah. We get tears almost every day from someone. So yeah, sometimes me. It's okay. That's life.
It's okay. We all cry.
We talked about the shifts. So in B2B, there's always new stuff on the horizon and things that are changing. When you think about everything that's happening today in B2B go-to-market, what is making AI agents feel like something that's more than just another trend that we should all pay attention to?
Yeah, I mean, I think we look back at 2023, 2024, and there was all of this AI news and it was all about what are the hot new tools I can use? And I think as marketers, we went a little crazy buying a bunch of AI tech and exploring AI tech. But 2025, I think, has been this real fundamental shift in that it's not a fad. Agents are here. They're transforming how we go to market. We need to have a mindset shift, which is how are we bringing agents onto our team and not just plugging them into roles that humans used to do, but also rethinking the go-to-market motion and how we kind of weave them into our workflows. And so I think 2025 has been a year of not just bringing on AI tools, but bringing agents on, treating them as teammates, thinking about how we operationalize agents and continue to coach them and maintain them and make them successful. Also thinking about agent orchestration. How do we make sure that the agents on your different kind of teams are all working together? And I think going into 2026, we're all going to be much more confident about kind of this business transformation that's happening. I think 2024 was a bit of a frenzy and we were kind of overwhelmed and looking over our shoulder. In 2025, we're seeing these marketers emerge who are confident in their agentic strategies. But that being said, we're always learning and evolving. Like we have to keep our finger on the pulse of new tech that's coming out. We were just looking at like ChatGPT's, new Atlas browser and how is that going to affect how we go to market and what's all the new technology that's coming out. So kind of keeping us on our toes. But the agent transformation is here and it's real. And I'm excited to see what 2026 brings in terms of like having real agents in production, helping you hit your numbers from a marketing perspective.
Helping you hit your numbers from a marketing perspective. That's a good call out there. I like that one a lot. And I know that you're big on a crawl, walk, run, fly framework. So a lot of us talk about crawl, walk, run. Let's talk about that as it pertains to AI SDRs. So for those who have not been in sales development, I would say the most difficult function in the entire business. You get constantly rejected. You're trying to create interest, find interest, curate interest from everyone, constantly told no and having to adjust and find other ways to have the conversation. So what does the crawl, walk, run, fly framework look like as we think about rolling out AI SDRs?
Yeah, I mean, so like first off, just defining an AI SDR agent, which is like, we kind of talk about inbound AI SDRs and outbound AI SDRs. So at Qualified, we're focused on the inbound funnel. So, hey, marketers, you're doing all this stuff to drive demand. You're driving traffic to your website. You are putting kind of top of funnel people into old school marketing automation nurture, hoping something comes out the other end. And then folks who are hand raisers, they're high intent, you send them to an SDR, to a human sales development rep. I think when we first launched our AI SDR agent, we call her Piper because she generates pipeline, but all of our customers like demand-based, they kind of renamed their agent to what matches your brand the most. We were really scared to say like the human SDR role is going away. I think people were very protective of that role. We didn't want to offend anybody when we first did that launch. But I think now in 2025, we realize, hey, we're asking a lot of these human SDRs. We're asking them to be super informed about your product, to work 24/7, to get back to every inbound lead as quickly as possible, work across all of these channels. And that was really a role that we saw that's ripe for automation. That's ripe for an agent to really step in and do that. So when we launched Piper, that's kind of where she started, which is how can I alleviate some of the pain of human SDRs and get buyers into the pipeline funnel as quickly as possible. And since launching, we've seen a ton of customers adopt and kind of put this into production. But what a lot of customers will say to us is like, this sounds great. I love the promise of an agent taking over the workload of my human SDRs so that I can redeploy those humans to do other things. They can do outbound prospecting. They can get promoted to be an AE. They can do higher value tasks. But they'll say to me like, but Maura, how do I have change management? How do I roll them into my team? How do I make it successful? And my biggest piece of advice is it's not just flip a switch and you don't have human SDRs anymore and you have an AI SDR. You have to crawl, walk, run, fly, as we say. So what that means is like when it becomes crawling, you're like, okay, how can I use an AI SDR to augment my humans? Maybe you have an AI SDR work your website at night or on weekends, or do email follow-up with leads that aren't really like ready to buy just yet, but just to keep them warm. That's kind of the crawl phase. So how do you make sure you're never missing an inbound lead? Then as we start about walking, it's how do you use an agent to kind of work the front lines? So if somebody comes to your website, an agent can greet them instead of a human, or the agent can do the initial email follow-up and then like hand off to a human. When it comes to running, that's when you're having an AI SDR agent do the majority of the work. So all your MQLs, you're really trying to send through that agent on the website over email. And then fly is like, you only have an agent. So for us at Qualified, we used to have 10 inbound SDRs. I now have one SDR. Her name's Piper. She's an AI agent. She works for me. The reason I love flying with Piper is because my whole funnel goes through her. She's super timely. She gets back to everybody instantly. and she is perfect in her messaging and her brand tone. And we're seeing a lot of our customers get to that fly phase, but they don't get there in one day. They need to get comfortable having an agent interact with your buyers. They need to coach the agent and make sure they're doing as well as they can. And as they get more and more comfortable, they say, hey, I can use my humans for something else, and I can use this agent more and more and more across all of my channels. And I think one thing that you'll see is like, I think one of the fears initially is like, what if the agent isn't as good as the human? And we've had all of these anecdotes from our customers where they're like, actually, the agent was better at answering the product questions that were super technical than this new human was, who was 2 months into the job and had never sold SaaS before or whatever it may be. But I think it's all about, as marketers, building your confidence to get there. And then it's our job, in any job that's selling an agent, to help guide people there and help them with that change management. And what you're going to see on the other end is like, hopefully you're generating more pipeline than you ever have because you're never missing an inbound buyer. You're focusing your humans on other tasks that are perhaps more fulfilling and more exciting for their career. And then as marketers, you feel like you're more in control of your ability to hit that pipeline number because you have the resources you need, because agents never sleep, never take PTO, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's been fun. We have customers like, I was just talking to Quantum Metric or Crunchbase. They're like, our agent handles every MQL. It goes, our whole inbound funnel goes through them. So I think that's the direction we're headed in.
Yeah, that's awesome. You hit on a little bit of the caution as you were bringing that to market, because humans we are humans, right? We're thinking this is going to take stuff away, not the opportunity it creates. What were some of the key lessons or adjustments along the way that helped you shape what ended up being the go-to-market strategy today?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the wisest decisions we made when we launched our agent was tying it to a job function, because it helped people see this isn't a tool, it's a teammate. So we decided to really productize this term AI SDR. We were one of the first to use the phrase AI SDR. Now it's kind of rampant. A ton of companies have come out with them as well. But we realized, like, I would say it was early 2024, everybody had just slapped AI powered onto their website. AI powered this, AI powered that, AI powered this. And I would go to all of these B2B websites and I'm like, I don't know what the hell they do. Do they really use AI? Did they just slap that on their H1, on their homepage? So as we were building this AI product, this agent, we kept saying, like, I need it to behave like my best SDR. I need it to be super informed. I need it to be super fast. I need it to reference all of my go-to-market data. I need it to be on brand. I need it to know all of our in-market offers. I need it to work across channels. And we kept talking about the capabilities of what a human SDR could do. And we actually designed Piper after our best performing SDR we've ever had. It's a woman named Blake. She's one of our heads of sales now, because we kept being like, oh, the product needs to be like Blake. Product needs to be like Blake. It needs to be as good as Blake would be. And so through those product development discussions, we decided, let's really position this as the role that it can achieve, which is it can do all of the things of an SDR. Since launching it in spring 2024, it now does a lot more. It kind of moves further up funnel. It can nurture buyers, et cetera. And when we went to market with the term AI SDR, we were careful about saying, like, she can work alongside your human. She can take the burden off of them, whatever it may be. Fast forward to today, we're not shy about saying, like, hey, if you want to have this agent do all of your inbound, that's fantastic. But I think we had to kind of get there to not scare people off. And I think seeing a lot of our customers, like demand-based, really embrace this motion has given us more confidence to say that's okay. One thing we talk about a lot is, like, there are roles that used to exist that don't exist anymore because of technology, and that's okay. Like lamplighters, used to go around and those folks would exist, or even like data entry specialists who would pull things off of fax machines. Like, there are all of these things that used to exist. And also, one thing that's fantastic is these agents are creating new roles, like go-to-market engineers or AI marketing ops specialists who oversee the agent. So I think we've just been like, we've embraced, we can't be scared of business transformation, and agents are part of that. But we had to kind of bring people along for the journey a little bit.
I need to talk to Blake. This is a follow-up
for
us. Yeah, we should definitely do an episode with, here's the person the AI SDR was modeled after. That's so cool to me.
Yeah, she's famous.
Yeah, I know. My brand brain was just geeking out on that, going, we got to talk to Blake.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because some people will be like, who is this woman, or why does she look the way she does? And we're like, meet Blake. I'll send you. We have a blog post that's like Blake and Piper.
Awesome.
And so it's pretty fun. And it's a cool story because there's a reason behind it. It's not random.
Yeah, I love that. You talked about how the brand messaging is always perfect. The voice is always perfect with Piper.
Mhm.
How did you ensure that your brand's voice and the buyer experience stayed intact?
Yeah. I mean, Chris, to me, that was paramount. Like, we put Piper on our website. We were, we call it Org One, qualified, unqualified. We were the first people to use Piper. And I was like, yeah, guys, I want to use our product, but if anything happens that tarnishes our buyer experience, we're going to pull back. Because to me as a marketer, that's paramount. So the way that we onboard an SDR is we talk about an AI SDR. It's like just how you would onboard a human. You make sure that it understands all of your website content. You can say, here are all of the offers that we have in market. Like, you guys just had your Demand-Based Go conference. Maybe there's like on-demand session recordings or whatever it may be. So it's about making sure they have your website content, making sure they know your in-market offers. And then a lot of it is like the first 30, 60 days that you roll them out, just constantly coaching and giving feedback. We have something called a scorecard. You can give them, thumbs up, thumbs down. How would you rate this answer? How would you do it differently? And I think that's one misconception right now on agents is, oh yeah, you hire an agent, you bring them onto your team, it's set it and forget it, like pipeline comes out the other end. That's not the case. You need somebody who every day is thinking about, how do I coach them? How do I give them feedback? How do I make them better? And I think one thing that's interesting is like we have this one customer, my friend Wendy, she's the CMO of Comply, and she just told this story about how the agent was answering questions, handed off to a human, and the buyer asked to talk to the agent again because the agent was more accurate in their responses because they were really like technical, complicated questions. And so I think that's been an aha moment of like an agent's not just as good as the human, but they have the ability to be better. And building that trust as a marketer is key because if you have an agent who's fumbling their messaging or giving wrong answers, that tarnishes the brand experience and your buyers going to the competition. So that's a key part of kind of the rollout process.
It makes me think of all the times I've yelled into the phone or typed representative to get a
Yes.
person, and now it's going to be agent. I don't
Yes,
want this
totally.
person.
Totally. Well, I think in the Chat GPT era, like we all want our questions answered really, really fast. And guess who's really good at that? It's agents. And guess who's good at like scheduling a meeting versus having a million back and forth emails to try and schedule a meeting? And agents good at that. So it's like the role of an SDR is ripe for a lot of that automation and it takes out the friction. So it's exciting for marketers because we've kind of been sending people down a path full of friction for the past decade or two because that's kind of all we could do with humans and with automation, but it's a whole new world.
I'm very curious about cross-functional alignment here
Oh
because
yes.
you have the rollout to make this successful externally, which is a
Mm-hmm.
whole production to pull that off. You've hit on some of the considerations there, but you're also changing a lot of the roles internally. Blake is
Yeah.
now higher up in the organization, but
Mm-hmm.
if we think about the alignment required to make this rollout successful,
Mm-hmm.
where do you think it required the most work, and were there any big takeaways for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, like the whole concept of an inbound AI SDR is it works for marketing, but we all know marketing doesn't work on an island. So I would say key roles that you need buy-in from are revenue operations to make sure that they're thinking about the orchestration and how the agent works alongside your human, and also your CRO counterpoint. Are they game for this new way of thinking that you can have agents booking meetings for their sales reps? I would say a lot of what we needed to do in the early days was treat this agent like a teammate, which I've said a million times, but like we have a pipeline council every Friday. We have a leaderboard of all of our outbound BDRs, we call them, but like outbound SDRs, what they're doing. And then when we still had human inbound SDRs working alongside our agent, we had a leaderboard for them and Piper was on the leaderboard. So early and often we could see how are humans doing with meetings booked, pipeline generated, et cetera, et cetera. How are the agents doing alongside them to start to build confidence like, hey, this agent's helping book meetings for you guys, which is great. As that agent pipeline number started to get bigger and bigger and bigger, it gave us more confidence to move more of those inbound humans onto outbounding, which has been great. I would say one thing that's really key is to not make your humans and your agent get competitive with one another. So one thing that we've done since day one is our humans get quota credit for the pipeline that our agent is generating, the meetings that they're booking, if it falls into their patch. We didn't want to create a culture where the humans were getting upset that the agent was starting to take on, like, take some of the inbound, which is always like really healthy types of buyers. So I would say alignment, putting them on the leaderboard, giving quota to your humans so they don't hate the agent, they embrace the agent. And then a lot of it is about sharing those wins of, hey, last night at 2 a.m., a buyer came in while we were all sleeping and booked a meeting, and now it's a K opportunity and it's moving into stage 3 really quickly. So how can you create that culture that's saying, this agent isn't just flashy software that we brought on, like it's helping us grow our business, and start to really celebrate that. And I mean, we're seeing so many of our customers like embrace that agent. They'll do like employee of the month campaigns where the agent is the employee of the month. We have a customer who's going to be a Piper for Halloween because they're so excited about how it's helped them hit their pipeline number. So I think, I just think creating that like culture early on that you're celebrating agent collaboration is really key.
Awesome. I like that a lot too. I mean, money is ultimately a
Money speaks.
massive motivator for sellers.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
fact that you weren't messing with their livelihood, I think that really helps with the rollout, adoption, how people perceive it, everything there. I'm curious, as a CMO, there's always an insane amount of pressure on a CMO. How
Yes.
should CMOs be thinking about the world of agents and more automation and more orchestration in their go-to-market motions? What should they be doing? How should they be thinking about it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, because I'm so lucky I get to talk to CMOs every day because those are our customers, and, it's event season for us right now. So we're out and about. I would say look at your inbound funnel and figure out, where do you have the most headaches? And that's where you should start with agents in production. So if you look at your inbound funnel and you're like, I'm doing all of these events, but I'm really struggling to get humans to follow up with those event leads, what a fantastic place to like start to leverage an agent. If you're looking at the bottom of your funnel and you're like, I have all these hand raisers, but it's taking us 4 days to get back to people because we don't have the human capacity, that's a great place to start with an agent in production. It's really imperative that you identify the use cases of where you can deploy them versus just saying, I'm going to hire an agent who's going to fix everything all at once. And that kind of goes back to the crawl, walk, run. So I always say, like, where are the headaches? And then also outside of an AI SDR agent, I'm like, is your headache like sales enablement, or that your sellers never really understand which case studies you have in market, or your competitive intel? Like, how can you use an agent to solve for that use case? So that's where I say, like, where are your headaches? What drives you mad as a CMO? And then figure out how you can deploy an agent for that particular use case to relieve the headache and then ultimately help you hit your pipeline number better. And the reason I think it's been so exciting is it feels like we're entering this era of CMOs being back in the driver's seat. Like, for so long, we spent all this money, we had all these campaigns, you're doing all these great things, with demand-based to like nurture these buying groups, but then you couldn't get them across the finish line and into a meeting. That's kind of the promise of agents. And we were talking about this before we recorded. Like, a lot of times SDRs don't roll up into the CMO, they roll up into sales and the CRO. And so having this feeling of like you're back in control of your pipeline number because you have an agent who works for you 24/7, I think that's been this light bulb moment, is just this driver's seat mentality.
Okay, this one you can only pick one thing. This is the
Okay.
challenge.
I
So I
don't
have
know.
2 in a row for you where I'm gonna make it
Okay.
as tough as possible because you can only pick one thing. So the first,
Okay.
what is the single biggest shift in buyer behavior that's changed how you approach go-to-market strategy?
Okay. I mean, well, EO is the hot topic right now, which is buyers are not going to your website to do all their research. They're going to these LLMs. And if they do click through, they're ready to buy as quickly as possible. So that's the big shift in 2025, which has been, how do we influence those LLMs? And I know it's a hot topic right now. I feel like I have a lot to learn about AEO and our strategy and how to do it right. But buyer research is totally transforming. And if you're not showing up when they ask questions to help answer them, you become irrelevant. So that's the biggest shift that we're clearly seeing right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, we hear that question a lot from CEOs too. We're
Mhm.
wondering, hey, why aren't we getting recommended in AI? Which is easy to change in our internal instance, in our
Yeah.
enterprise account, because we can train it, we can package materials, we can say, hey, when someone asks, what should I be seeing about account based strategy? Here are the 3 podcast episodes, the best ebook. It's a little harder to do that at scale. So that's a
Yeah.
great one. This next one could be related, but it's the single biggest B2B marketing challenge today. So it could be the same thing or it could be something totally different. But what do you think is the biggest challenge for marketers and B2B organizations today?
I think it's standing out in the noise. It's so crowded right now. There are so many new AI tools out there right now. So as like somebody who works for an AI company, it's like, how do you stand out? And I think that what we've really anchored on is like real customers, real results, and that's our differentiator. But there's so much noise. You drive down, I know you're in North Carolina, but I'm in the Bay Area. You drive down the 101, there are billboards everywhere. We have Piper billboards too, but it's like, how do you win the hearts and minds of your buyer when there's just a ton of noise out there?
Brand is back. There we go.
Brand
You have to
is
invest in
back.
it. Yeah. Brand
It
is
is
back.
back. I think it's imperative, right? It's like it kind of was quiet for a few years and now it's a really exciting time to be a marketer because everything's changing. Like the playbook from 2021 is completely dead. It's completely irrelevant. We're talking about things right now like AEO and agents and brand building, which were not totally on the table back then. So it's an exciting time, but it's kind of scary too.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, we have some quick hitters. This is the lightning
Okay.
round. Just a few questions to close this out. The first, what are your favorite tools or technology you're using today? And you are allowed to say Piper. I know you want to say Piper. That's totally fine.
I love Piper because our pipeline's never been higher, and I have Piper as my sole inbound AI SDR agent. But she also helps me just like I'm helping shape where the product's going, and I'm using the tool hands on keyboard every day, and that's really exciting for me. I would say in terms of other tools that I'm using, I use a lot of like Notebook LLM just to kind of do readouts for me when I'm on my commute. I'm trying to think, we're from an outbound perspective. We're using Relevance to build agents to help us with like Copilot and outbounding, and that's been really fruitful for our team. And then we're getting a lot of fresh insights from Gong. And of course, yeah, we love Demandbase, we love Qualified. There's a lot in our tech stack, but those are some of my favorites.
Awesome. What about your favorite reads? And we are very generous with that. It could be book, blog, newsletter, podcast. It doesn't have to be literally reading something, but what stands out to you today?
Yeah, I mean, this sounds kind of lame, but like there's so many incredible marketers on LinkedIn right now. So I'm really enjoying just like following along their journeys as they're sharing insights with their agentic journeys. We just launched a new show. I'd be remiss not to talk about it, the Agentic Marketer, where we're talking about what we're talking about right now, which is like how are marketing leaders transforming their organizations with agents at the helm. So those are kind of two of my go-to right now. There's also the podcast Pipeline Visionaries, which is all about like pipe gen tactics and how they're transforming. And then for fun, I listen to Amy Poehler. She's my favorite podcast listen right now. Good Hang by Amy Poehler. I feel like she's who I listen to when I'm like helping clean the house or do art projects late night after my kids go to bed. And she always brings a smile to my face. So awesome. wide range from AI to comedy it's all in my earbuds.
Yeah, that's a great one. And this is a nice little segue there. You talked about LinkedIn, which is people. Yeah. Who are the people who inspire you the most that we should all follow?
Yeah, I mean, Lisa Adams, she's a great AI thought leader from a marketing perspective. She advises CMOs every day on their AI strategies. I've been paying really close attention to Sydney Sloan, the CMO of G2. She's just really disruptive in how she's thinking about GTM kind of transformation. Susan Ganeshan, CMO of Amplify, Wendy Wervey, who I mentioned earlier, CMO of Comply. These are all just like Lisa Sharapetta, CMO of Metadata. I feel like I've learned so much from all of these, which I realize are all women, from all of these women right now. And we're all just leaning on each other, trying to figure out what the future looks like. And so that's been exciting. And I'm really great. I think now more than ever, marketing leaders need to lean on their networks to try and learn and share ideas and exchange what's working and what's not. So those are some of my faves.
Love it. And then the most important question of all, the last one, how can everyone get in touch with you after this episode?
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn, we talked about it, but Maura Rivera, go to qualified.com if you want to see Piper in action, or demandbase.com to see Piper in action. And yeah, would love to connect.
Outstanding. Well, Maura, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today.
Okay, thanks for having me, Chris.
Take care.
Bye.